Composite products, wind turbines. Are you worried about our planet? In an industrialized world filled with so much controversy over the use of resources and energy, many people are worried about the toll the high demand for energy takes on our beautiful home. Alternative energy sources such as wind turbines are a popular means of reducing our non-renewable resources. By taking a look at history, design, and benefits of wind turbines, we can conclude that wind energy is definitely worthy of consideration. First, we'll take a look at the history of wind turbines. Over here in the West, we did not build our first windmill until the 12th century, which was then used for milling grains. By 1889, we switched using turbines to pump water, and the U.S. had 77 manufacturers. By the end of the century, turbines became a major American export. The Transcontinental Railroad depended on the multi-vane mills to pump water for the steam locomotives. Until the diesel engine came along, and again we see a reduction in the numbers but no sign of obsolescence. The turbines were still very popular in the South, however, to pump groundwater in small quantities to livestock water tanks. Without the water, the beef production over most of the West wouldn't have been possible. It wasn't until the 1930s and 40s that hundreds of thousands of electric turbines were built and provided electricity to farms that were out of reach of power lines. But quickly, development lay dormant again for the next 20 years. But then, the OPEC oil embargo of 1973 sparked the interest of wind energy yet again. The prices and energy questioned availability in conventional fuels. With that, tax credits, incentives, and research programs. This triggered the development of many new designs. Just one machine could supply enough energy for 700 homes. With nearly 50 domestic manufacturers, they went through a major consolidation. By 1979, there were less than half a dozen left, and half of those dealt exclusively with small-scale machines. With the tax incentives expiring, this reduced the demand, and the consolidation still continued. Jumping ahead to 1997, only 2% of California's electricity was wind, but as costs continued to decline, other areas started to see more wind farm development. In 2011 alone, 3,463 turbines went up across the United States. Today, America generates enough wind energy to power more than 11 million homes. It creates steady income for investors and landowners, and it helps provide manufacturing, construction, and operation jobs for 75,000 Americans.
Next, we will examine the design of wind turbines. How do they work? Well, in simple terms, the energy from the wind turns 2 or 3 propeller-like blades around a rotor that are connected to a main shaft that spins a generator to produce electricity. So you can think of it working the opposite of a fan. A fan takes electricity to produce wind, and a wind turbine takes wind to produce electricity. The blades are similar to airplane wings. So the air passes around both sides of the blade, but the shape of the blade causes the air pressure to be uneven. So it's higher on one side and lower on the other. And that's what causes the blades to turn around the center of the turbine. But the blades only spin at about 18 repetitions per minute. And you may be thinking, well, that's too slow to create electricity. And you're right, it is. But that same shaft that's connected to the blades are also connected to a set of gears that spin at about 1,800 repetitions per minute. And that is fast enough to spin a generator and produce electricity. Now, why are they so tall? Well, the higher up wind turbines are, the more wind there is, and the more energy they can produce as a result of that. Larger wind turbines are also more efficient. Some of the blades can spin in a circle that has a diameter of about 150 feet. That's longer than a football field. Wind farms are multiple wind turbines in a certain area that can produce enough electricity for large areas. And there are a couple more parts of the turbines I'd like to mention. There's the anemometer, which is on top, and it measures the wind speed and sends that information to a data controller. There's a brake that stops the rotor in emergencies. There's also a controller that turns on the wind turbine when wind speeds are about 8 to 16 miles per hour and shuts them off at about 55 miles per hour because high winds can be really damaging to a turbine. There's a pitch towards the front that turns the blade out of the wind, and it controls the rotor speed as well. So again, it doesn't become too fast moving to be damaging. And the tower, which is the support structure of the turbine, is made of tubular steel, concrete, or steel lattice.
Now I will discuss the benefits of using wind turbines as a source of energy. Wind energy is a clean fuel source. Wind turbines do not produce atmospheric emissions that cause acid rain or greenhouse gases like power stations that burn coal or natural gas. For example, in Texas, the use of wind power has increased by 4.4% this year. Carbon dioxide emissions have been reduced by 3.3%, even though overall power demand is up by 2%. Wind is cost effective. Wind energy is one of the lowest priced renewable energy technologies available today, with an average estimated cost of 4 to 6 cents per kilowatt hour, depending mainly on the size of the investment for turbine construction. However, according to a recent Department of Energy analysis, wind power is currently averaging 2.5 cents per kilowatt hour. By comparison, solar energy averages 5.6 cents per kilowatt hour, natural gas averages 6.1 cents, and coal is 6.6 cents. Wind energy is a domestic energy source. The nation's supply of wind is abundant, and the use of wind energy reduces our country's reliance on foreign sources of fossil fuel. Over the past 10 years, the cumulative wind power capacity in the United States has increased by an average of 33% per year. On whole, wind energy provides an average 4.5% of the entire nation's electrical generation. And for those who are ready to check to Xcel Energy each month, on a good windy day, nearly 60% of the energy they sell is produced by wind power. Wind energy is sustainable. Wind is a form of solar energy. Winds are caused by the heating of the atmosphere by the sun, the rotation of the earth, and irregularities in Earth's terrain structures. As long as the sun shines and as long as the earth spins on its axis, wind will blow and the energy produced can be harnessed to add power to the nation's electrical grid. Additionally, wind isn't a single usage power supply. The same wind that powers one turbine is also used by many turbines, to the front, to the rear, and to the sides. Wind turbines can also be built on existing farms and open ranges with a small footprint. This benefits the economy in rural areas where most of the best wind sites are found. Farmers and ranchers can continue to work the land because wind turbines take up a tiny fraction of the land. Wind power plant owners make rent payments to the farmer or rancher for the use of the land, thus providing landowners with additional income. In conclusion, we have taken a look at the history, design, and benefits of using wind turbines in order to educate ourselves about the benefits of such means of alternative energy. Thus, we can conclude that wind energy is deserving of the attention when exploring ways to reduce the stress we put on the planet.